What is up, fight fans? My name is Tay, the Visionary, but we're now tuned into the Marquise Black YouTube channel. Welcome, Boxing Universe, man. You all may know me for definitely you doing the live fight party videos, the live streams, but I want to talk more about boxing and give you all my first YouTube video covering boxing. Today we're going to talk about Michel Rivera versus Frank Martin, two top-tier contenders. Top-tier contenders, or two contenders for that matter. But I want to talk about these guys because these guys are daring to be great. They're not wasting any time. They're not fluffing up their resume with Uber drivers and taxi drivers. These guys are ready to fight each other right now. They want to be the best. They're fighting an eliminator for the WBA. And I'm excited for this fight, man. I'm excited for this fight. And I'm going to be honest with you. I know a little bit more about Michel. I've been watching him longer than Frank Martin. I'm pretty new to both of the fighters, but Frank Martin I didn't really know anything about. I do know that he's signed to Errol Spence's promotional label, Man Down Promotions. And he's probably the popular fighter. He's probably the favorite fighter for this fight. But I don't know, man. I want to give you all a little bit of my insight on what I've noticed about these guys and my fight prediction on who I'm going to go with. But first, I want to let you know, Michel Rivera, he's an orthodox fighter. He's 5'9". He has a reach advantage of 71-inch arm reach. He's 24 years old, 24 wins, 0 losses, 14 knockouts. He's a lightweight fighter. Frank Martin, he's a southpaw, 5'8", so just an inch shorter than Michel. 68 reach. It's not an advantage. He's 27 years of age, 16-0 with 12 knockouts. He's also a lightweight. Now, this fight is scheduled for December 17th, 2020. Man, I promise you this is going to be a great one. Yeah, man, so let's get into it. I want to talk about a common opponent between both of these fighters. Now, on this channel, we don't believe in triangle theories. Just because A can beat B and B can beat C doesn't mean that C can't beat A. That's a triangle theory. Once you think that a guy can beat a guy and he beat him in more impressive fashion, that he's going to beat the other guy he did a better job than. That's not always true. But Michel and Frank have both fought an opponent by the name of Jerry Perez. Now, if you all know, 2 years ago, Jerry Perez was a contender himself. He still may be a contender. I haven't heard much of him lately, besides the fight that he just fought this year against Michel Rivera. But Jerry Perez, man, he sparred Leo Santa Cruz, so he definitely has some experience there. He also has a common opponent with Frank Martin. They both fought Tyrone Lucky. Frank Martin knocked out Tyrone Lucky in 5 rounds. Jerry Perez knocked out Tyrone Lucky in the first round. Just to give you a little bit of background, give you a little bit of credibility about this opponent. This guy is a formidable opponent for both Michel Rivera and Frank Martin. They both fought him. Frank Martin fought him last year, April 20th. Jerry Perez just fought him on the Wilder Helenius undercard, 10-15 this year. It was an 8-round fight with Michel. It went the distance. Unanimous decision for Michel. They had 2 of the judges had it 79-72. One of the judges had it 80-71. So that should give you an idea of what a dominant performance Michel Rivera put on against Jerry Perez. When Frank Martin fought Jerry Perez, they fought in a 10-round fight, not an 8-round fight. Frank Martin dropped Jerry Perez with a right jab, straight left. I'm sorry, right jab, left hook. Man, boy, I'm telling you, I thought he put him out for good, but you know, Jerry Perez being the tough opponent he is, he definitely got back to his feet. But it just wasn't enough. The ref didn't think he would be good going on, so he stopped the fight. But I'm gonna tell you this: the fight was stopped in the very last second of the 7th round. In my opinion, it definitely could have went on to the 8th round, but they didn't want the fight going on, so it is what it is. But yeah, man, let's talk about some of these strengths and some of these weaknesses of these fighters. Let's start off with Michel Rivera. I'm going to tell you this, bro. This man is an accurate puncher. He has an excellent right uppercut on the inside. Um, Last year he fought at 140 super lightweight, and I just think he's going to be the bigger man coming into this fight. Definitely think he's going to be the bigger man. He's definitely fought at 135, but and I know he's only an inch taller, but I think we're going to see a huge size difference in this fight. Don't get me wrong, Frank Martin is definitely a stocky guy, but I think we're going to see the difference between 135 and 140 coming up in this fight. He's definitely going to put that weight back on, even though they're fighting at 135. So he's going to look a lot bigger against Ghost. Um, he's only had 23 amateur fights. Michel has only had 23 amateur fights, but this man fights very well. He fights very well. He fights very disciplined fighter. He definitely has the power to hurt Frank Martin. Like I told you, he's very sharp. He's very accurate with his punches. He's very aware on the inside. He has very good eyes on the inside. He can just see a lot that's going on. So that's why I say, you know, even with those 23 amateur fights, he fights like he's been doing this his whole life. Yeah, man, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you know, when he gets into his prime, he's not into his prime yet. Like I say, he's only 24 years old. When he gets into his prime, 27, 28, I definitely think we're going to see Michel at welterweight. And if he stays, you know, stays disciplined, stays in the gym, we're definitely going to see him at welterweight. We're definitely going to see him as a dominant fighter at welterweight. But yeah, some of his weaknesses, in my opinion, one I'm going to say is that he's fighting a southpaw. Frank Martin is a southpaw. I've never seen Michel Rivera fight a southpaw. If any of you guys know about any southpaws that he's fighting, that he's beaten, that he's dominated, please let me know. But he doesn't have much experience with that. His last fights, all of his fights in America have been against orthodox fighters. So he can go in the gym, he can prepare for that, he can train for that. But let's be honest, realistically, it takes years to train, to prepare for something to become second nature in the gym. I know because sometimes I'm in the boxing gym and I've been doing it since 23. I'm 29 now. But if you're not in the gym consistently training on a certain thing, it's not just going to, you can't just go into a 3-month training camp and then think it's going to become second nature and try to implement those same things in the ring without some setbacks. Another one of his weaknesses, I think, in this fight is going to be that he's fighting a body puncher. He's fighting a body snatcher. Frank Martin is an excellent body snatcher, and I'm not sure if that's because of his trainer of the year, Derek James. You all know him to be the trainer of Jermell Charlo and Errol Spence. So you can see some shades of Errol Spence and Frank Martin's body attack. Boy, I'm telling you, Frank Martin is going to look excellent on the inside. Why? Because one of Michel's other weaknesses is that when he's on the inside, he likes to squat down to his opponent's level. He squats down to his opponent's level, so it's going to make Frank Martin, who has a shorter reach, be able to reach him. Once this fight happens, we're not going to see much of a difference between the reach. You know what I mean? Because I promise you, Michel is going to want to fight on the inside. But don't get me wrong, Michel's excellent on the inside. He's accurate on the inside. But I think the athleticism is just going to favor Frank Martin a little bit more on the inside than it will Michel. And because he does come down to his size, we're going to see him get hit. We're going to see him get hit with some overhand rights. I think, you know, as most orthodox fighters do, they keep their lead hand low around the body area. And that's going to make him open to some of those jabs from Frank Martin. That's going to make him open to some right hooks from Frank Martin. And it might open him up to a straight left. I'm not sure. But that overhand, the squatting down, the body attack, him fighting southpaw, I think those are going to be his prominent weaknesses against Frank Martin. But I think his strength is definitely going to be the jab. I think Michel has the better jab. Don't get me wrong, Frank Martin has a good jab, but I think Michel's jab is a little bit more superb. This guy is excellent. Michel is excellent when it comes to the counter right uppercut. Excellent when it comes to that. Frank Martin, he is front foot heavy. He leans into some of his punches. He leans even into some of his jabs. That is going to spell danger, catastrophe for Frank Martin if he gets hit with those right uppercuts by Michel. And I honestly believe it's going to happen. You're going to see this man get hit with more uppercuts than he's ever had in his whole career combined, hands down. Excuse me, man. I'm kind of losing my voice. I'm trying to get my voice back, but yeah, man. One of Frank Martin's weaknesses, in my opinion, is that, like I said, he's front foot heavy. He leans when he throws his straight left. And that's, if Michel reads that, he's definitely going to be able to counter that. But Michel, man, he has like this probing step jab, that's going to make him open to the straight left if he doesn't have a way to figure that out. He's going to be dropped in this fight. That's my prediction. Michel Rivera is definitely going to be dropped in this fight. Sometimes he brings his feet together. I noticed that. And maybe that just comes from, not being a pro for too long, not being an amateur for too long. Maybe it comes from that. But he does tend to bring his feet together. And going against a fast, athletic puncher like Frank Martin, he's going to catch you bringing your feet together. He's going to catch you being susceptible to that straight left hand. And he will use it. Frank Martin, on the other hand, he sparred Gervonta Tank Davis. He fought Virgil Ortiz in the amateurs back in 2016. This guy is athletic. He's fast. And like the typical southpaw, he uses those southpaw angles. Like I said, Michel is not used to fighting those southpaw. So he likes to fight on the inside. He likes to squat. He might have trouble with the angles if he doesn't use the jab. Like I feel he will if he doesn't use that distance. He needs to focus on distance when he fights Frank Martin. He needs to keep that separation, use that reach advantage, use that superior jab to just set up set up Frank Martin for some of them right hands. But yeah, man, Frank Martin, athletic, fast, uses angles. The guy is strong. He's a body snatcher, and he has tight punches. That's what I really like about Frank Martin. He keeps his punches tight. Now, I know I said that Michel Rivera, he's definitely aware. He has his eyes open. But I've noticed that the guys he's fought that he's been very aware with, they don't have tight punches. They got these looping hooks where you can see them coming from like 2 miles away. But I'm wondering how that's going to translate when he fights a guy like Frank Martin who keeps his punches short, who keeps his punches tight. And seldomly do we see Frank Martin come out there with wide punches. Yeah, man. But I think those tight punches, Michel just might struggle with that. Frank Martin, on the other hand, he's open to the straight right. We seen that in his last fight. The man got hit with a bunch of straight rights. And we're going to see a lot of that against Michel. So if that's not an issue that Frank Martin has corrected since his last fight, we're going to see him get hit with a lot of straight rights. And don't be surprised if he gets dropped as well. Don't be surprised if he gets dropped as well. Rivera might capitalize off that. Like I say, heavy on the front foot, which is not good for them uppercuts. So with that being said, I'm going to keep this video short. I'm going to wrap it up. And like you all been waiting for a fight prediction. I'm going to have to go with... Let me say this. If Michel wins the fight, it's going to be by decision. But he's definitely going to drop Frank Martin in the process. If Frank Martin wins the fight, it won't be by decision. It's going to be by stoppage. But just to give us some closure, when all said is done, I got Michel Ali, Zarza Ali Rivera winning this fight by decision in a tough, competitive fight. I don't see this fight being easy for any one of these guys. I think they have a lot of similarities when it comes to just their athleticism, their abilities on the inside, and their awareness in the ring. But I definitely think Michel, he's the bigger fighter. He's the quicker fighter. I'm not going to say he's faster with his hands, but he's quicker. He's agile. But I definitely think Frank Martin is more explosive. And that explosiveness is going to give Michel problems. And that's the reason I think he's going to get dropped in this fight. But I got to go with Michel, man. He has a superior jab. Jabs win fights. he can fight at the distance and win this fight. He's very athletic. He's very aware, and he can deal with the explosiveness if he uses his timing, if he uses his range accordingly. So that is going to be my final prediction for this fight. I'm rocking with Michel on this. Frank Martin might be at 140. I could definitely see Michel Rivera, Ali at 147. But thanks for watching this video, you guys. Please subscribe to the channel, like the video, leave a comment. Let me know what you all think about my commentary, my review on the fight. And let me know who you all think is going to win this fight and why you favor the fighter that you favor. Peace. Again, my name is Tay the Visionary. You can follow me on my other YouTube channel, Tay the Visionary. You can follow me on IG at Tay the Visionary, T-E-A, the Visionary, like T the Visionary, but Tay. But yeah, welcome to this channel, Marquise Black YouTube channel. Until next time, peace. Much love to the boxing universe.